This tutorial will help UK businesses understand the tax mapping considerations when setting up an A2X account for Shopify. We must first advise that the scenario described in this tutorial may differ from your own specific tax obligations. Therefore, it is strongly recommended that you seek advice from your accountant or tax advisor. The detail provided in this tutorial is intended solely for the purposes of technical configuration of A2X. There is no guarantee or assurance provided that the detail in this tutorial is best suited to your specific business needs or that it directly suits your tax obligations. This tutorial is based on a very basic scenario of a business selling online, registered for VAT in the UK only, with standard rated and zero rated sales. In A2X, tax amounts come through as separate transaction lines in your payouts. When you are using software such as Xero or QuickBooks to file your MTD VAT return, you need the accounting system to calculate the tax amounts based on the tax rates provided within your accounting system. To achieve this, tax rates need to be applied within the tax rate column in A2X. That all sounds okay, right? VAT on sales, etc. That part is pretty straightforward. But what about the VAT that has already been separated out by Shopify and then also by A2X in your payouts? And what about the sales of zero-rated products or sales that are going outside of the UK? That's the bit that can seem a little tricky, but we'll cover it all in this tutorial. First, before we start mapping, we are going to enter our VAT jurisdictions into A2X. Go to Settings, select VAT, and enter the countries that you are registered for VAT in here. Now we need to make sure that the payouts we've already pulled in know about this, so we will go back to the payouts page and refresh them. To do a whole page at a time, we click on the Actions tool here, select Enable Bulk Actions, tick the top box to select the full page, and then hit Apply. Now let's take a look at a payout entry in A2X to see how it is presented. You will see here the transaction detail listed in the entry. We have product sales. We also have our Shopify fees here, but we also have the separated tax amount here. The separated tax needs to be wrapped back into the applicable income accounts so that the accounting system sees the full gross sales amounts and then accounts for the VAT by way of tax rates accurately. That is what you see here, with the product sales tax amounts being allocated to the Shopify sales account with 20% VAT on income as the tax rate. The mapping you see here is applied on the Accounts and Taxes page in A2X. Let's head over to the Accounts and Taxes page as shown here. On the Accounts and Taxes page in A2X, you will see that the page is split by transaction type categories as shown here. A2X offers to create a set of ledger accounts for you in QuickBooks Online, Xero, or Sage Online. These are shown here. We also have the tax rate column, which we will cover further on. Within each of these categories are the transaction lines we can see in the payouts in this account. The transaction lines shown in each category can differ from one account to the next, as they are based on the payout and order data that we are fetching into the account. What you see throughout the next stages of this tutorial may differ from your account, however, the general mapping principles will be similar. To expand each category on the Accounts and Taxes page, you click the orange plus symbol here. These are the transaction lines for the discounts category that we can see in the payouts within this particular account. These lines may differ in your account. The default or header category here can be used to set up the base mapping. Whatever is selected in the header count or tax rate boxes will flow through into each of the transaction lines below. The plus symbols you see here will be orange in colour if A2X can see transaction lines within that category. If they are grey, you know that you don't even need to expand the category as there are no transaction lines there for it yet. When setting up the mapping in your account, it is sometimes best to disable the auto mapping here so that if new lines come through in payouts in A2X, you get the chance to check them first before the default accounts are applied. Okay, let's work our way through the categories here, starting with the discounts category. We are going to be using the A2X default accounts, so we will leave the accounts column as it is. But if you wish to, you can select any account from your own chart of accounts by clicking here. In the tax rate column, if we click the drop-down button here, you will see rates listed. These are the tax rates that we can see in your Xero or QuickBooks Online account. In the default header box, I'm going to apply the 20% VAT on income rate, so it flows through to the transaction lines. Now, looking at the individual transaction lines, we have one there that says Discount excluding tax manual order. This line relates to discount amounts that were taxable. The reason the word excluding is there is because the tax has actually been separated out and is included in the tax category below. We'll cover this further down, so don't be too concerned here. These were the discounts processed using the manual gateway in Shopify. The next one says Discount excluding tax online store. As we see that excluding tax phrase again, we know these were taxable. The difference is they were processed through the online store. We also have a transaction line that says Discount not taxed EU country online store. This line relates to the discount amounts that were not taxable, as they were sales outside the UK processed through the online store. The next line says Discount not taxed online store, so these were also not taxable sales processed through the online store. For the first two lines, knowing they were taxable discounts, we will leave the 20% VAT on income rate applied as shown. But for the last two that show the words not taxed, we will apply the zero rated income rate. And that is the discounts category mapped. We can collapse the category now and move on. Let's skip the gateway transactions category for now, and we can come back and cover that one last. The next category down is the gift card liabilities category. This is where the sales of gift cards and the redemption of gift cards is accounted for. The A2X default account for this category is a Shopify gift cards current liability account. As the plus symbol is grey, we don't actually have any gift card transaction lines in this account, so there is no need to expand it. Being that it is a balance sheet account, we will add in the no VAT rate here. Moving on, and the next category down is the other category. This is generally used for miscellaneous transactions or charges that don't often occur. In this case, we are mapping our other category to the Shopify fees default account with the reverse charge expenses 20% rate. Likewise with the payment and selling fees category, we are mapping this as a reverse charge expenses 20% rate, as we have checked our tax invoices from Shopify which display that this is the rate they are using on Shopify fees. This may differ from business to business, so, like all of the options in this tutorial, you should check the mapping over with your accountant and against your Shopify fees invoice. The next category down is the pending payments category. This is where the pending payments will be allocated in the event of an order being short paid or something similar. The A2X default account for this category is a Shopify pending payment current asset account. Being that it is a balance sheet account, we will add in the no VAT rate here. The next category down is the refunds category. We have chosen to use A2X's default account, but you could choose to put them straight back into your sales account if you wish. In this account, you will see that we have a mixture of excluding tax and not taxed transactions. Only one of the descriptions is a standard GB excluding tax refund, so we will mark that with our tax rate for standard rated sales. The others are all not taxed, as they either relate to funds outside of the UK or zero rated products, so we will apply our zero rated income tax rate here. Now we are up to the sales category. We are going to use the same pattern of mapping transactions that specify excluding tax to a standard rate and not taxed to a zero rated income rate. Moving down, and the next category is the shipping income category. The default account is a revenue account. We are going to do the same thing and mark the descriptions that are standard UK shipping to 20% VAT on income, and the descriptions that specify not taxed will be zero rated income. The next category down is the tax category. This is where things can seem a little confusing, but if we think back to the start of this tutorial, where we mentioned that we need to wrap the separated tax amounts back into their income accounts so we can apply tax rates for VAT. So this is it. The default A2X account for the tax category is a liability account. For the UK though, we don't want to use this, as all tax amounts in this category will have to be wrapped back into their applicable income accounts so that the accounting system calculates the VAT on the gross amounts. So as a default or header account, you can apply the same Shopify sales account that you have already used above, with a standard 20% VAT on income. Then, for each line in this category, you will map the applicable income account. So these first couple are discounts, and we chose earlier to map discounts to our sales account, so we will choose the same account here. There is a refund. This one we have mapped to Shopify refunds to match the refunds category above. We will do the same with the shipping tax lines, so the account for those ones is the Shopify shipping account. The last two lines in the tax category are product sales tax lines, so the account for those ones is the Shopify sales account, which mirrors what we have mapped in the sales category above. So that covers the VAT mapping for this account. The last category to review is the gateway transactions category. This is where you map the clearing accounts for the expected deposit amounts for the other payment processors you use, so any payment processor aside from Shopify payments. In this account, we use PayPal as an additional payment method in the Shopify store. A2X will create a single clearing account for you with our default accounts. However, I would recommend creating a clearing account for each payment processor or gateway used. These will need to be created directly in your accounting system and then mapped in the gateway transactions category as you see here. That concludes the VAT mapping tutorial. Again, the scenario or examples used here may differ from your specific situation or needs. We strongly advise you to consult your accountant or tax advisor to confirm the A2X mapping.